Scottie Scheffler has just done something nobody expected. The world number one, who finished one stroke behind Rory McIlroy at the Masters, has finally broken his silence on the controversy that has divided the golf world. He didn't just defend McIlroy, he revealed his own frustration with how the tournament was decided, and what he said has stunned everyone. Rory McIlroy made history at Augusta National. He became just the fourth player to win back-to-back Masters titles, joining Jack Nicklaus, Nick Faldo, and Tiger Woods in one of golf's most exclusive clubs. He edged out Scheffler by a single stroke, finishing at 12 under par, but the victory came with a cloud of controversy. McIlroy admitted during the tournament that he had spent weeks practicing at Augusta, using the privileges afforded to him as the defending champion. He skipped 3 tournaments leading up to the Masters, choosing to fly to Augusta for practice rounds instead. He even did day trips where he would drop his daughter Poppy off at school, fly to Augusta, practice, and fly back home in time for dinner. "I've been on this golf course so much the last 3 weeks. I honestly just don't like the 3 tournaments leading up to this event. I felt the more time I could spend up here, the better." The reaction was immediate. Golf fans flooded social media with accusations of an unfair advantage. Stephen A. Smith questioned the gentleman's perspective of the preparation. Some fans called for the rules to be changed, but McIlroy wasn't breaking any rules. He was using them. While fans were divided, the golf community rallied behind McIlroy. Sky Sports' Nick Doherty dismissed the criticism as coming from people outside of golf not really understanding the process. Was it an advantage that he did it? Yes, Doherty said, but it's not an unfair one. It's smart, and his unfair advantage is he's so good he doesn't need to go and play all these tournaments beforehand. Michael Kim and Kevin Kisner were among those who defended McIlroy. The message was clear. McIlroy had earned the right to prepare however he saw fit. The defending champion's privileges were not a loophole, they were a reward. The golf world was defending its champion, but Scheffler had a different perspective. Scheffler finished one shot behind McIlroy at the Masters. He mounted a furious comeback from 12 strokes back after 36 holes, with rounds of 65 and 68 on the weekend. He came within 1 stroke of forcing a playoff. But when Scheffler finally spoke about the tournament, he didn't attack McIlroy. Instead, he attacked the course setup. "I would have liked it to have been a little bit more equal in terms of the firmness on Thursday and Friday," Scheffler said. "I was a bit surprised at how soft things were on Friday afternoon, especially as it got late in the day." His argument was simple: the conditions weren't fair. Scheffler had played in brutal conditions on Thursday afternoon, where birdies were scarce. He then went out early on Friday morning, before the greens had been softened. By the time McIlroy and others played on Friday afternoon, the course was significantly easier. "Friday probably hurt the most in terms of my chances of winning," Scheffler admitted. "I think I finished maybe 2 over par on Friday, so that day probably hurt the most in terms of my chances to win." The world number one wasn't accusing McIlroy of cheating, he was accusing the tournament of being unfair. Scheffler's comments reveal a nuanced understanding of what fair means in professional golf. He didn't criticize McIlroy's preparation, he criticized the conditions that gave McIlroy an opportunity to capitalize on that preparation. McIlroy himself had addressed the unfair accusations directly. He said, "I joked last week, and going into this week, this place feels like my home course. I haven't played anywhere else in the last 2 or 3 weeks, really. I felt prepared in that way." But McIlroy also defended his approach. He pointed to Jack Nicklaus's preparation methods as a blueprint. He said, "I talked to Jack Nicklaus over the years about how he prepared for majors, and he would go the week before. He'd simulate a tournament. He'd play 1 ball for 4 days, shoot scores, so that when he got to the tournament, it felt second nature to him." The defending champion was simply following the example of the greatest player of all time. The Masters controversy has faded, but the rivalry between Scheffler and McIlroy has only intensified. At the FedEx St. Jude Championship, Scheffler delivered a devastating statement.
Scheffler won by 8 shots, shooting a 61 in the second round that equaled the course record. He led the field in strokes gained putting. He collected $3.6 million for the win. McIlroy, meanwhile, finished 66th out of 69 players. He posted an 8-over par total, finishing 25 shots behind Scheffler. He admitted he was so far away from where he needed to be. He said he felt lost with his golf swing. The contrast couldn't have been starker. Scheffler had dominated McIlroy in the most emphatic way possible. The man who had been accused of having an unfair advantage at the Masters had just been demolished by his biggest rival. Scottie Scheffler's comments about McIlroy's unfair advantage reveal a complicated relationship between two of the greatest players of their generation. Scheffler doesn't believe McIlroy cheated. He believes the system gave McIlroy an opportunity that he didn't have. The rivalry between Scheffler and McIlroy is one of the most compelling in golf. They have shared 5 of the last 9 major championships. They're the only two players who can truly challenge each other at the highest level. But Scheffler has always maintained that his motivation is internal, not external. He said, "I would not say that the rivalry, drives me. When I can go out by myself and practice and have something that I want to improve on, that's one of my favorite things." The question now is, has Scheffler's victory in Memphis finally given him the edge over McIlroy, or will the Northern Irishman use this defeat as motivation for a comeback?